Hello, welcome. This is the Cozy Sky Knits podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth. I'm coming to you from Georgetown, Texas. Today is Friday, September 26th. I live in Georgetown with my mother, Nancy, and my two senior cockapoos, Sullivan and Griffin, who all occasionally will make an appearance in my podcast. This is primarily a knitting podcast where I share my finished objects, my works in progress, some dream knitting, stash enhancements that happen every now and then, and just some other goodness that might come up. I do some other crafts, fiber related, like needle felting, quilting. I sew. I have an Etsy shop called Cozy Sky Co. on the Etsy platform, where I make bags and stitch markers and things like that. And I also sell stitch stoppers. So if you have any interest in those, you can check that out. Everything that I mentioned will be linked down below. And if you're new here, welcome in. I hope that you do enjoy the time spent here today and that maybe you'll consider subscribing. And if you are returning, welcome back. I so much appreciate you, as you all know. And I can't express enough my gratitude for just building this community with everyone. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm not wearing anything knitted today because it is a little bit warm. It's still 90 degrees here today, even though it's towards the end of September. We're waiting. It is cooling down at night, but it's still quite warm during the day. We're waiting for those cooler afternoons, but they're coming, I think. But I am wearing a knitted related t-shirt with Winnie the Pooh and Piglet talking about what they should do and suggesting they go to the wool shop, which is always one of my favorite things to do. So this was a t-shirt that I purchased online, I think from Yarn Merch was the store. And yeah, good quality, recommend it. They do run a little bit big, but other than that, they're really good quality. They wash up nicely, and I really, really like it. My friend Sasha here, who's my cohort, she is wearing one of my sweaters that I knit. It's the Elton Pullover by Locatelli. I knit this a few years ago, and it is done in Stranded Dyeworks, which is out of the UK. Unfortunately, no longer dyeing yarn, but this, I can't remember, I think it was Nougat might have been the colorway, something like that. But it's in my Ravelry page, and I will link it below, so if you want to look that up. But this was done striped by using, I did the same color mohair and the same color fingering, and just alternating, you're doing a striping repeat of both. And then it's a drop shoulder construction, and I did 3/4 sleeves. And yeah, just a nice light sweater, and I really like it. So that is what we're wearing. Let's talk about finished objects. I don't have much because I have been so busy. I have been knitting, but I haven't finished much because I haven't had a ton of knitting time. So I was working on a pair of socks, which I think I showed last time, and they are finished. You can see those. The lighting's not the best. Sorry, it's evening here and I'm losing my light, so got some spotlights, but there, I think that's good. This is the Thursday night sock, and I knit it up in So Happy Jane Pistachio Cream is the main colorway. I did use a scrap of yarn at the top to cast on with, and then I did the little short row accent just before the toe. So you can see those up close. And I talked about this pattern in the last episode. It's one of my favorite patterns. It's nice textured, goes really quickly. It's really a joy to knit, and it's very clear, concise pattern. So highly recommend it if you haven't heard of it, the Thursday night socks. And yeah, there's the pair. So, and I still have quite a bit of yarn left over. I'm not sure what I'll do with those. Just tossed it in my scrap bin for now, but I might add them to, like, I'm dying to make a scrappy pair of socks. I've never actually done that. I have tons of little nuggets of sock yarn, and I don't think I want to do like a full blanket or anything, so I'm thinking of doing a scrappy pair of socks maybe on my circular sock machine. In case you don't know, I have a Erlbacher Speedster circular sock machine that I love to make socks on, and that kind of stuff. So either socks or maybe even a pair of fingerless gloves might be nice. So that's the only finished object I have. Let's get ready to talk about works in progress. Moving on to what's currently on my needles. Since I finished that pair of socks that I just showed you, I cast on another pair because socks, I think I mentioned before, are my comfort knitting right now. And so I'm thoroughly enjoying them, and it's kind of my mindless thing. So I cast on another pair and I finished the first sock. And I just cast on 64 stitches, and I do all my socks on a US 1 typically. And I use a Chigu 9-inch circular needles, but I end up using with the circular set that you get, the interchangeables, which is what I use. You get a 2-inch and a 3-inch tip, and I use one 2-inch tip and one 3-inch tip. I knit continental, so I put the 3-inch tip on my in my left hand and the 2-inch tip in my right hand, which is what I'm picking with because that doesn't need the leverage that I do in my left hand. So I like the 3-inch in my left hand. And it gives me better, just it's less strenuous on my hands, and I don't get the cramping or anything like that. So, got some hair in my mouth, sorry. Got my hair cut too, in case you notice I am missing quite a few inches. It felt good to get it chopped off. But anyway, this is, I cast on 64 stitches. I cast on with just a scrap, actually the same scrap as my finished object. I had a little bit left over, and it matched the yarn because the yarn is very similar. This is a little more in the peach tones than the other one, and peachy pink. I guess the other one was more of a cream base, but it has little speckles, lightly speckled. You can see that maybe here. So lightly speckled. And then I wanted to do a contrast heel, and I found this really, sorry, losing my train of thought here. This main yarn is 3 Irish Girls yarn in My Cherie Moore, and it is their Adorn Luxe, which is 85% merino and 15% nylon, 430 yards per 100 grams. And I got this, I think, when I was maybe in Minnesota years ago. So it's been in my stash for a long time. I just loved it and was waiting for something special, but I couldn't decide what to do with it. So I ended up making a pair of socks. So anyway, I wanted to do a contrast heel, but I wasn't sure what color. And then I found another yarn, which is it's Active, AKTIV by Supergarn. Here's the label. And I use this a lot with my circular sock machine. I have a lot of it. And I found this pretty heathered, kind of a sagey green, and I thought it went really well. The only problem is this yarn is just a touch lighter in weight. Just felt thinner to me than the main color. So I wasn't so sure that I wanted to use it just for the heels and toes. And I thought about holding it double, and then I thought I'm gonna hold it one strand with the main yarn and one strand of the green. And I didn't go up a needle size, so it was a little bit hard on my hands because I was dealing with 2 strands on the same needle as I was with one, but it created a really cool marled effect in the heel and then also in the toe. And yeah, I really, really like it. I figured that's a wear point for me is the heel, the bottom of the heel, and then also in this area here is a wear point. So I figured with 2 strands, that'll actually really help with the durability. So we'll see. Anyway, I finished one sock, and I am a good bit on the second sock. Again, I cast on with the contrast color, knit the leg. Oops, it's a little tangled here. The heel flap and gusset, or not gusset, I did the heel turn, and now I'm working on the gusset, and then I'll just have the foot and toe to do. So those shouldn't take me too much longer. I might finish them this weekend. So that is my first work in progress. The only other item that I'm working on is a sweater, which I haven't shown in a while because I haven't really had the desire to work on it. And that is my Keep It Warm sweater. I have it in this cute bag. This cute patchwork bag that's actually new in my shop. And holds quite a bit. So I am knitting this sweater out of my yarn. Oh, I don't have my labels with me. I'm not quite organized today. Oh, wait, yes I do. Apologize for the crinkling that's about to happen. Try to minimize it. Okay, so my main yarn is, we're getting some shadows now, sorry about that. My main yarn is this light pink, and that is a Miss Babs Katadin fingering yarn. So it's a huge skein, 1,750 yards, and it's 439 grams. And it is 100% superwash blue face Leicester wool, so BFL. And the colorway is Sugar. So here's the label on that. Oh, this lighting is terrible, sorry. And then I'm holding a single strand of that with a single strand of mohair, and I'm using the Pearl Soho Tussock, which is 60% superfine kid mohair and 40% silk, and is a great mohair. If you haven't used it before, highly recommend it. 328 yards per 25 grams. And oh, I just realized that's made in Japan. I didn't realize that before. So beautiful yarn. This is the mohair here. And I have to kind of laugh at this because I love to use a yarn cozy. I usually pull from the center of the skein, and I like to have a yarn cozy, which I knit them on my circular sock machine, and then I actually sell them in my Etsy shop. But I didn't have one quite big enough for this Katadin skein, which is so large. So I actually used a hat that I had done on my circular hat machine that I have, and it's working out great. I put the big old skein in there, and it holds tension on the skein, which keeps it from falling apart. And I just tucked the mohair in on the side, and it's beautiful. So it's an extra large yarn cozy, AKA a little beanie. So anyway, this sweater, let me show you how much progress I made. Last time I showed it, I was only in here. So just the collar, and I had done some of the short rows and was getting ready to start the lace panel. And as you can see, I went on a roll with this, and I gotta tell you, mohair on my lips now, sorry about that. This pattern is a great pattern. However, at the beginning of it, I would call it, if I have to be honest, I would call it clunky, because and I don't know if it's because of the translation of it, and the style, the translation, I'm not sure, but a lot of the instructions in the short rows where you're navigating short rows after the ribbed collar and the folded over, it's a fold over collar. So after that, you're navigating short rows, as well as starting to establish the raglan and the lace pattern, and it's kind of confusing. And the way the pattern's written, all the instructions are kind of crammed in against each other and with the different sizes, and it's very hard to read. And honestly, I think I ripped it out 3 times, and then finally the 4th time I was like, if I don't get it this time, I'm moving on, I'm doing a different sweater. That's how frustrated I was. But the 4th time I got it, and I actually really dissected the pattern. I scratched out, because I use a paper pattern all the time, I prefer that. So I literally like scratched out things that didn't apply to my size and kind of rewrote part of it. And then I got through the short rows. And once I got through the short rows, easy peasy. You're following one lace chart, which is easy to memorize for the sleeve lace. It's kind of hard to see. And then one chart for this little lace cable that goes up the side here, and then the main lace panel is another chart. So you're dealing with 3 charts. But the chart for this and the sleeve are super easy to memorize and very intuitive. You can read your knitting and know exactly where you're at. So you don't really have to refer, once you've done it a few times, you don't have to refer back to the chart. At least I didn't have to. And I'm not usually good at memorizing charts, so I think it's pretty easy. And then this main lace is also pretty easy to read your knitting. So I, of course, use stitch markers to mark it off, so I know if I can count my stitches. If I ever think I'm off, it's easy for me to identify where I'm in the mistake. But honestly, I didn't have any trouble with it. And like I said, once I got through the short row sections, it just flew. So all done with that. I did the twisted ribbing on the bottom for 2 inches, and then I did a tubular bind off, which looks really nice. And this is not blocked yet, so it's all going to even out when I block it as well. And then I'm on the first sleeve, and I've got about a couple more inches to go on the sleeve, and then I will do the ribbing on that sleeve and then start the second sleeve. So super happy that I finally made it back to this sweater and that I persevered, because I really wanted to quit. But I didn't, and I'm glad that I didn't, because I really want this finished object. I think it's a beautiful sweater. And like I said, the pattern is not difficult. It's just that first section through the short rows that I think the pattern writing, translation and the pattern writing stylistically could have maybe used a little different hand to it, at least for my liking. And I think several other people had that issue too. But anyway, so that is my only other active work in progress. I really haven't touched anything else. I haven't gotten back to my rose cardigan. Well, I take that back. I did do one whole sleeve on my Alpine Glow by Andrea Mowry, which my friend Melissa and I were knitting together. We had hoped to have them done for last weekend for DFW Fiberfest, but we didn't make it, and we thought it was going to be too warm to wear them anyway. So I had knit probably about 3/4 of one sleeve of that, and then I realized I had started the decreasing on the sleeve in the wrong spot, and it just didn't look right to me. So I ended up ripping it all out. So now I'm back to square one on my sleeves, but it didn't take me too long to get that far on it. So it shouldn't take me too long to get back to it. It's just that I got hooked on this and didn't pay any attention to it. So I need to get back to it though. And then my other languishing whip is my rose cardigan, which I've showed a few episodes ago. Also by Andrea Mowry, and that cardigan I haven't picked up. I have the 4th quadrant to do, and then just put it all together and do all the cabling and the fun stuff, which I think looks like fun, but I just need to get back to it, and I haven't. However, I did go to, gosh, my glasses are slipping again. I need to get new glasses, and I just haven't had time. Anyway, I went to DFW Fiberfest last weekend, and we saw someone wearing the cardigan, the rose cardigan, in the exact yarn, the yarn that the sample was made out of, which is the same kit that I bought from La Bien-Aimée. And so that gave me great motivation. My friend Melissa said that she saw this woman wearing it. And so I was like, oh, where? We have to find her. So we tracked her down. And then I'm like, can I look at your sweater? I was like, let me see, was this hard? And so I talked to her quite a bit about it. And she encouraged me to go ahead and finish it. So I am going to get back to that. And hopefully in the next week or so, I'll get back on that and get that 4th quadrant done so that I can do the fun stuff. And have the finished object. Sorry about that, knocked my water cup over, which reminds me, I need to take a drink. So, I mentioned that we went to DFW Fiberfest, and I will have a little bit of footage. I always forget to take a lot of pictures and things, but I did shoot a little bit of footage from some fun stuff that happened there. I went with 3 of my friends, and we had a good time. We stayed in an Airbnb, which was pretty close to the facility, but it was kind of we called it the sketchy house, because it was very poorly lit. They didn't have a lot of overhead lights, and some of the lamps didn't work, and I don't know. The kitchen was not very well equipped, and we were just like, we just called it the sketchy house. It just seemed a little off. And then the hot water barely worked. So it was a disaster, but it was also kind of funny, and it made the trip memorable. So anyway. But my friends came from San Antonio, and then I live in Georgetown, so I met them up there in Dallas, and we went on Friday. We met at the McKinney Knittery, which was fun. So I purchased some yarn there. So I purchased this Ulysses from Durum Natura, and it is in the color Alpine, Alpine. This kind of reddish burgundy color. And then this color is Quartz, which is a pale pink. And I want to do some kind of a striping sweater. I got a sweater quantity. I think I got 1 extra skein of the red color because that'll be like the bind off and the cuffs and stuff. So I might do another Tolsta tee with these, not sure, but that's one suggestion or one thought that I have. So I got that. And then Plucky Knitter was having a trunk show there, which was really fun. And they have gorgeous yarn. And I found this beautiful Primo fingering base in the color Small Batch Plucky number 1. Yeah, that's what it's called. And it's 440 yards of 75% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 5% nylon. And this is a beautiful color, beautiful creamy color with some pastel pink, kind of almost I would say almost leaning neon, but not quite neon, but like more of a bright pastel. How's that sound? There's pink and like a sunflower or sunny yellow, and then a tealy turquoise color. And so then I found this color, which is the same base, but this is in the Pinehurst colorway. Oh, actually, this is a different base. It's the Legacy fingering. So this is actually 450 yards per 100 grams, and it's 100% Shaniko wool, non-superwash. So anyway, I'm gonna mix these two together, and my plan is to do the Alpine Bloom, which I'll show a picture of that. Let's see, by Caitlin Hunter. Oh. So you can see that. So most people do a solid base and then do the floral motif in a color changing yarn. My plan is to kind of switch that and to do the main sweater in this beautiful light speckled yarn, and then the floral motif in a solid, which I think might be kind of interesting, and I think it will really pop off this base, and this pulls the speckle from that. So excited about that. And then I was picking out yarn for my friends, helping them pick out their colors, and they were using, excuse me, I was clearing my throat. 1 second. So they were all looking at the spin cycle, and as I'm picking out yarn for them, I happened to find another color that I really liked. I couldn't get it out of my head. So then I decided, what if I make the one I just showed you for my mom, Nancy, and got this one for myself. So that's what I did. So I'll be making 2 Alpine Blooms, most likely. So I got this beautiful gray tone, and this is by Quince & Co, and it's in the Chickadee base, which is a sport weight, and it's Icelandic, I think, wool, 164 yards per 50 grams. And this colorway is, the colorway is Iceland 153. So it's this light gray. And then this spin cycle, which I thought was a lot of fun. Hopefully that's not blowing out and you can see it. It's called The Dark Side, and this is in the dyed in the wool base, which is 200 yards of sport weight per, I think it's 50 grams. And this is, it's fun. It's like a blue base, definitely a cool blue. And then it goes into more like a Wedgwoody blue, I guess I would call it, or a Dutch blue. And then an aqua and some kind of neon-y, washed neon-y pink and orange and yellow. And I think it'll be really cute against this gray. And so this is going to be the floral motif, and this will be the base of the sweater. So those my acquisitions from McKinney Knittery. I did get a bunch of stuff from the Fiber Festival, but I'm not going to show that tonight just because it's getting late and I don't want to inundate you with acquisitions. So I will somehow put all that together and possibly show that in the next episode. So other than that, I've been kind of busy, like I said, with some life stuff that was unexpected. A colleague of mine, actually one of my customers, he had a 17-year-old son pass away unexpectedly, which was just really, really tragic and sad. So I had to go to Houston for a funeral. And another one of my good colleague friends, he's really my friend now, he's not just a colleague. He lives in another state, but we talk all the time, and he's been very supportive of me with during my 5 years at the company that I'm currently at. And he is dealing with, he had a bout of throat cancer last year, and we thought got through it. Unfortunately, it's now appeared in his lungs, and he got that diagnosis this week. So he's facing a rough road ahead with chemo and immunotherapy. So anyway, some heavy news. Don't mean to bring anyone down, but that's kind of why I've been a little bit absent, just dealing with a lot of that, as well as travel for work and just other general stuff. But I did manage to get a little bit of sewing in, so I thought I'd show you a couple of the new bags that I made for my shop. I normally don't show too much, but I thought these were pretty. So this was some Liberty of London fabric that I got, and this is really pretty floral. And then this is like a green accent, and then on the back I did the blue accent, and then I flipped the casings for the drawstring. And this is, it holds about 6 skeins of yarn, 4 to 6 skeins, so a good shawl or like a t-shirt project bag drawstring. And this is the one, the other patchwork one that's the extra large. It's a sweater size bag that I showed that I have my sweater in. You can see that. And this one I have a pocket, actually a split pocket, and it's lined in just a white, real light white kind of with a beige print. So that, and then this is always a popular bag, and especially in the fall. It's a hand painted one, so I actually hand paint this design here. It's my gnome, and it's got some of the more fallish looking fabrics. And this is again like a 4 to 6 skein bag, and it's a drawstring style. So anyway, I've been busy doing that. Popped those into my shop recently if you're interested. Other than that, I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Had taken my dogs to the vet for their checkups, and got some, that was the other thing, got really bad news from one of my puppies. Both of my dogs are old. One is 15, going to be 16 in February, and the other is 14, going to be 15 in March. And the younger one, Griffin, my chocolate cockapoo, he's never been food oriented, but he actually stopped, like really, we were struggling to get him to eat anything. And he wasn't getting sick or anything like that. It seemed like nothing appealed to him. And one day he would eat something, and the next day he wouldn't. And I was trying all different foods and tuna, and I baked him some salmon one night. I mean, chicken, boiled burger, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, he had an appointment at the vet, and I took him in, and he actually is in kidney failure. So he's in stage 3 kidney failure and heading towards stage 4. So not a good prognosis. He is getting up there, but you just hate to lose him. My dogs are like family to me. They're my kids. So anyway, so just trying to love on him, and of course keep him comfortable. And if he shows any sign of really being like in pain or anything like that, then I will have to visit the vet again with him and help him cross to the Rainbow Bridge, because I don't want him to suffer at all. He's been a really good friend, a really good animal, just a love bug of a dog. So anyhow, and I guess that's all I have for today. Getting ready to do some kind of a special episode. I got a couple things in my head that I'm working on. Probably this week I'll be putting together some stuff for the Knit-a-thon. with Pia Trans from Traveling Misknits, and that'll be on October 4th. So I forget what time slot I'm at, but I'm going to link her website, which has the full schedule. If you don't know what it is, she actually hosts a 24-hour knit-a-thon for knitters from all over the world, where we there are podcasts and entertainment podcasts. There's a woman that plays piano that's just beautiful, and people from all over different countries do podcasts, and they either do a live episode or they do a pre-recorded and do it as a premiere so that you can be commenting along and as you're watching it, and it premieres during that time slot that you're scheduled for. So she sets it all up, and you can watch, whenever you want. You can watch along, or you can watch later, if you need to sleep, that kind of thing. But it's fun, and a lot of people work on the same projects or kind of share what they're working on. It's a lot of fun. So I'll be participating in that on October 4th. So hopefully you'll come back and check that out. We do it twice a year, usually in April and then in October. So looking forward to that. And I know Pia released, I think this week, her newest pattern, or maybe last week, her newest pattern. She always releases a knit-a-thon pattern, and it's a beautiful sweater. So you might want to check that out. I'll link that as well. And I guess that's about it. Just want to thank you for being here. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. I hope that you're all enjoying fall as it's approaching, or spring if you happen to be in the Southern Hemisphere. And hope that you're all having a nice cozy time with your knitting. And I hope to see you back again. And if you wouldn't mind, if you could give me a thumbs up, maybe leave me a comment, let me know what else you're working on. And if you have any suggestions on things you'd like to see in this podcast, I'd really appreciate that too. I'm trying to dream up some different unique things to do here for you to entertain you. So any suggestions are welcome, and also any feedback. So with that, I think I'll let you go, and hopefully you all have a good weekend, and I will see you next time. Take care and happy knitting. Bye-bye.